Okay, section 5.9 is on transforming linear functions. And this is basically, we looked at this lesson, but we did not do any problems on there. But I wanted to show you what you had missed during class. So what we're looking at here is what we're going to refer to as parent functions. I have some equations preloaded in here that we worked with in class. And I'm just going to go through the same thing that we went through in class. And this was for Monday. So I'm going to talk about a parent function. And we're just going to look at that graph. So this is the graph of y equals x. It's y equals x. It's a parent function of a line. It goes through the origin and it has a slope of 1. So it goes up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1 to get to the part. When we're looking at describing transformations of graphs, we're really looking at comparing two graphs or comparing it from the parent function. So I'm going to add a graph in here and we're going to look at it. This graph, you can't see it very well because of the window that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, number 2. And I'm going to zoom in from the center point there. So now I'm zoomed in. You can see this a little bit better. This is the parent function right here. This one right here is the line y equals 0.5, or y equals x plus 0.5. So we have shifted the graph up half a unit. So all of these points get shifted up. So we can talk about a vertical shift, or we could talk about a horizontal shift back a half a unit. Either way, but we're comparing it to this parent function here, and we're looking to see how we can describe this new line that we drew with in relationship to that parent function. Okay. So let's take a look at these two graphs. I'm going to turn this one off. And I guess, I say comparing it to a parent function, but in the problems, they will give you two equations and they want you to compare them. So I'm going to turn on equation 3 and equation 4, and I'm going to go and graph. Okay, so I'm still zoomed in, right? So these two equations are crossing the y-axis at -1, and one has a steeper slope than the other. It's not much of a difference in the slope, but it is a little bit different. So if we go back and look at those two equations now, you notice that they're both crossing the y-axis at -1. This one has a slope of 0.2, so it's going up 0.2 for every 1 unit goes over. So this is the steeper of the two graphs. This one is going up 0.1 and 1 over. So this is the graph that didn't have as steep of a slope. Let's look at the next two that we have paired here. And this one goes back to the parent function of x. And we're going to be looking at x minus 4. So just looking at these two equations, the slopes are the same on these two. The y-intercept on the parent function is at 0. The y-intercept on the second equation is going to be at -4. So now when I graph that, I only get part of that graph. So I'm going to go back to my standard window. So zoom and number 6, standard. So there I'm back to that 10 by 10, 10 by 10 window. So we have our line going through the origin. That was our parent function. And our other line is shifted down 4 units. Or we can talk about it shifting to the right 4 units. So down 4 units or to the right 4 units. Either way, a vertical shift or a horizontal shift, but not both. It's one or the other. So let's look at our last two equations that we're going to look at. Turn these two off. Oops. Turn that one off. Turn that one off. Turn 7 on and turn 8 on. Now let's look at these equations to start out with, see what we're going to see. So they both have the same y-intercept of plus 2. This one has a slope of 1. This one has a slope of 2/3. So once again, one's going to be steeper than the other. The slope of 1 is going to be steeper. So this one has a slope of 1. This one has a slope of 2/3. So for every 2 it goes up, it goes over 3. For your one that has a slope of 1, it's for every 2 it goes up, it only goes over 2 units. So we can tell which equation is which by identifying back in the equations what we're going to see. We've said we were going to have a y-intercept of 2, but our slopes were going to be different, so the lines were going to be steeper or less steep, depending on how you want to talk about it. But that was section 5.9, and that's really all we talked about in 5.9.